In the evolving theater of global energy, a seismic shift is brewing. Could we be witnessing the downfall of the United States oil supremacy?
Just when the nation appeared to gain a solid grip on energy independence, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries (OPEC) makes a daring play that sends shockwaves through the market. While some hail it as the most pivotal maneuver in history, others brush it off as merely a routine adjustment in supply and demand.
Is the American oil industry truly on the brink of ruin, or are we overreacting to the swirling uncertainties?
Price fluctuations are not just numbers on a ticker, they can erupt into economic tremors that resonate worldwide. The narratives of triumph sung by proponents of the shale oil revolution now find themselves challenged by OPEC's newfound strategy. Saudi Arabia and Russia, emerging as power players, seem determined to dictate terms in this high-stakes energy game.
Has the United States' position on the oil throne truly become precarious, or is it just the market's familiar dance of highs and lows?
As electric vehicles and renewable energy technologies loom large, the fossil fuel giants face a looming existential crisis.
The pressure is mounting on the Trump administration to reconcile domestic energy independence with the global imperative for cleaner energy alternatives. With OPEC's recent decisions stirring doubts about energy security and oil revenues, the stakes have never been higher.
On March 3, 2025, OPEC Plus took a bold step, boosting daily oil production by 138,000 barrels for April, marking their first increase since 2022. This comes on the heels of a sharp decline in Brent crude prices, which fell by $1.83 per barrel, raising questions about the sustainability of U.S. oil dominance. Meanwhile, the U.S. continues its quest for energy independence, achieving a record high production of 13.49 million barrels a day as of December 2024.
Can OPEC sabotage America's efforts to maintain this competitive edge?
By 2025, the global sales of electric vehicles are projected to surge by 18%, potentially curbing fossil fuel demand.
As OPEC and its allies tighten the screws, they've placed U.S. producers in a precarious position.
The volatility in the market, intertwined with geopolitical tensions, might compel significant buyers to explore alternative oil sources.
But what if this turmoil is simply a passage in an age-old cycle?
Electric cars and green energy are not just concepts, they are manifesting realities that may redefine where energy markets head next.
The impending shift could yield countless opportunities for innovation in the U.S. oil sector. Yet, the question remains, how resilient are these industries amidst mounting pressures from climate policies and behavioral shifts among consumers?
Looking ahead, the outcome of OPEC's calculated cuts and the rise of alternative energies could lead to significant transformations in the global oil landscape.
Will fossil fuels maintain their grip in energy markets, or are we edging toward a new era where renewables take center stage?
The strategies of oil giants like Chevron and ExxonMobil may indicate a possible reconciliation with green technology,
hinting at an evolution rather than a collapse.
As we grapple with this complex web of energy dynamics, rising oil prices and geopolitical maneuvering paint a picture fraught with tension.
The current energy paradigm, under threat from conflicting forces, could push the United States toward an economic whirlwind of recession and inflation. Will the administration's efforts to contain such a crisis be enough, or are they merely delaying the inevitable?
The discussion on oil's future is far from settled.
What lies ahead could reshape global energy as we know it.
In this high-stakes game played on the world stage, only time will reveal whether OPEC's gambit can truly dismantle America's oil ambitions or if the U.S. has the resilience to navigate these choppy waters. As we stand at the crossroads of energy evolution, the final outcome remains shrouded in uncertainty, eliciting intrigue and speculation about the fate of oil in the decades to come. In recent developments, the fossil fuel industry faces a crucial moment, compelled to either adapt or risk falling out of relevance. The challenge intensifies for American leaders, as the Trump administration grapples with the delicate balance between fostering national energy independence and responding to the global push for cleaner alternatives. As OPEC's recent maneuvers raise pressing questions about energy security and oil revenues, we are left wondering what might happen if demand dwindles or international trade avenues narrow. OPEC has unveiled a controversial strategy designed to elevate global oil prices by slashing production quotas. However, a surprising twist emerged on March 3, 2025, when OPEC Plus announced an increase in daily oil production by 138,000 barrels for April. This decision, the first production rise since 2022, reverberates through the market, particularly with major players like Saudi Arabia declaring a protective stance on income through reduced production. Since the start of 2025, prices for Brent crude oil have plummeted by $1.83, marking a significant 2.45% drop. Meanwhile, the United States, aiming for energy independence, has ramped up its production through shale reform, achieving a record high of 13.49 million barrels per day in December 2024.
Herein lies a critical question: does this move by OPEC signal a calculated effort to corner American oil producers?
By 2025, global sales of electric vehicles are projected to surge by 18%, surpassing 20 million units, potentially diminishing the demand for fossil fuels.
Analysts caution that the ongoing production cuts from OPEC Plus members like Saudi Arabia and Russia have tightened the noose around U.S. oil producers.
While elevated prices typically favor shale oil, market instability and geopolitical anxieties may compel large purchasers to seek alternative supplies. The U.S. oil sector is grappling with significant refining demands, yet uncertainty looms over its ability to remain viable amid shifting preferences and international trade pressures.
As we explore these dynamics further, one must ask, can innovation and adaptation save the U.S. oil landscape from decline, or are we witnessing an uncontrollable transformation in energy markets?
As OPEC strategies unfold, the global landscape of oil may never look the same again, compelling us to consider the intricate dance of power, politics, and urgent necessity in this volatile arena. Tension mounts as the global energy landscape teeters on a precipice.
With OPEC's recent production cuts and the surge in electric vehicles, questions loom larger than ever. Is the United States oil industry on the brink of collapse, or can it adapt and thrive amidst these seismic shifts? The American shale oil sector faces unprecedented challenges. High oil prices, initially a boon, now reflect market instability and geopolitical concerns, prompting buyers to explore alternate fuel sources. As the refining industry grapples with record demands, the horizon remains uncertain.
Investors are skittish, and banks are tightening their purse strings on fossil fuel projects, responding to the increasing pressure from environmental concerns and governance standards.
Is the specter of a financial drought looming for U.S. oil producers?
To compound the turmoil, the Biden administration is pushing for a steep reduction in carbon emissions.
Could this be the final nail in the coffin for traditional oil?
OPEC, meanwhile, believes it's still the master of its domain, asserting that fossil fuels will reign supreme for decades to come.
But is that the reality, or a plea to maintain control amidst emerging challenges?
Picture this: as electric vehicles become mainstream and investments surge into renewable energy, the share of fossil fuels in our energy mix might dwindle.
What will this mean for traditional oil powers? Is OPEC's heavy-handed strategy, designed to assert market control, merely a desperate gamble to stave off this inevitable shift? The balance of power teeters. While some analysts predict a swift decline in oil demand, the present era demands caution. Yes, oil maintains a dominant grip in transportation and petrochemical industries, but could the tide be turning more swiftly than we realize? As we delve deeper into this evolving story, we face a stark possibility. Are we witnessing the twilight of U.S. oil supremacy? Will the combination of rising electric vehicle sales and OPEC's tightening of production lead to an irreversible downturn? The tension builds, leaving us at the edge of our seats. Can the American oil industry stave off its impending doom, or is a profound transformation already underway? The answers lie beyond the horizon, just waiting to unfold. As the global energy landscape evolves, the oil sector finds itself at a crossroads, navigating the challenge of diminishing returns. In the long run, will the production cuts by OPEC accelerate this transition or slow it down? With rising prices, the attraction of alternative energies grows, hinting at a possible decline in oil's market share. In the U.S., oil giants like Chevron and ExxonMobil assert they are not facing collapse, rather, they are restructuring. They are investing in innovative projects such as carbon dioxide capture technologies and blue hydrogen biofuels. Some industry leaders believe that even if oil reserves diminish, they will pivot to become versatile energy companies. This strategic shift is mirrored in OPEC, particularly with Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 aim to reduce oil dependency. However, this move could send shockwaves through American politics.
Surging oil prices could worsen inflation, leading to increased voter dissatisfaction. The Biden administration faces the daunting task of managing this situation. To combat rising costs, Washington has been tapping into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, but those reserves aren't infinite, they've dwindled significantly in recent years. If OPEC continues to cut production and prop up prices, the U.S. may need to adopt harsher interest rate hikes to manage inflation, risking a recession. Might OPEC's strategy lead to a permanent decline in the U.S. oil industry, or does America possess the resilience to withstand these pressures? Despite the challenges, significant oil supplies persist globally. With nations like Iran and Venezuela poised to step in if sanctions are lifted. High prices could prompt alternative producers to emerge. The oil market has seen fluctuations before, but have structural changes always been so drastic? While the oil industry is unlikely to vanish in the near future, the long-term demand for fossil fuels could dwindle if the renewable energy transition accelerates. Could this be the beginning of a new era in energy production? Only time will reveal the outcomes of these developments, as the world watches closely. The fluctuations in the oil market have occurred throughout history, but the structural changes have not always been profound. The oil industry is unlikely to vanish in the near term, yet one cannot ignore the possibility that the demand for fossil fuels might decline as the renewable energy revolution gathers steam. Now, OPEC seems to be playing a complex game, prioritizing short-term profit maximization. The once bright future of the U.S. shale oil industry appears to be dimming, with rising costs and stringent environmental regulations posing significant challenges. Some industry voices remain optimistic, asserting that companies can pivot, leveraging innovation to cut costs whenever necessary. Are we witnessing a calculated strike from OPEC aimed at undermining the very foundation of the U.S. economy, or is it merely a tactic to inflate oil prices for profit? Many claim that the U.S. oil sector is teetering on the edge of complete collapse, while others dismiss such views as hyperbole. What side do you take in this escalating debate? As the energy landscape evolves, every shift carries potential ramifications. Should you find yourself intrigued by these pressing questions, remember that the narrative of energy is constantly evolving. One minor move could lead to earthquake-like consequences in global markets. Buckle up, as we delve deeper into whether the age of fossil fuels is truly waning and consider the viability of green energy alternatives. The drama is far from over, and the stakes could not be higher. Oh, the tremors in the American heartland, where mighty drill rigs once roared like unchallenged beasts, now stumble amid whispers of doom. Oil titans claim collapse looms, skyrocketing R&D costs, plunging profits, elusive financing shackled by strict ESG standards that choke innovation and bleed red ink. Now, imagine a stormy boardroom, lamps flickering, the bitter scent of burnt coffee and stale cigar smoke clinging to the air, as American oil giants grapple in the grip of desperation. Major banks slam doors shut, slashing loans to fossil fuel ventures. Touch those rough-hewn maps on the table, feel the weight of pressure mounting on the Biden administration's bold climate dreams. Feel the chill? United States shale oil drips unprofitability, stocks nosediving like a hawk in a tailspin. Some scream exaggeration, jesting that tech wizards can still slash costs amid chaos. Which side lights your fire in this fiery feud? Is overstated hype fanning flames of false apocalypse? Peel back the curtain, and geopolitics sting deeper. A provocative twist. OPEC's bold strike isn't just economics, it's a calculated jab at America's soul. As oil prices climb, like a ladder to the stratosphere, do Saudi Arabia and Russia smirk, envisioning U.S. inflation ballooning, recession's icy hand squeezing tighter? Hear the distant echo of factory whistles silencing if Washington's empire crumbles, global leadership frayed, alliances snapping like brittle bones. Frosty ties buzz, Prince Salman fires defiant shots, we shield our interests. We kneel not to American demands. Russia, tangled in Ukraine's thorny war. Bows not to old orders. OPEC Plus? Their howling rebellion, your vaunted world? We defy it. Thus, this unthinkable OPEC gambit morphs into raw politics, economics bleeding into power plays. But dare we believe the wild claim that America's oil throne shatters eternally? Shocking reality, it's a far-fetched gamble. Shift gears to gritty truth. Dreamers of instant oil oblivion cite renewables and electric cars exploding like fireworks across the horizon, but oil binds the veins of transport, petrochemicals, industry, its empire vast, unshakable overnight.
Zero demand? A mirage. Yet, transitions build steam, oil wages war on waning glory, returns shrinking in the relentless tide. Will OPEC cuts pedal this decline, or pedal brakes? As prices spike, feel the electric hum. Alternatives tempt like forbidden fruit. Not annihilation, but erosion gnaws at America's edge. Oil behemoths retort, collapse? Fiction.
We're reshaping, adaptable giants pivoting.
Chevron and ExxonMobil dive into carbon capture, blue hydrogen, biofuels, touch the cool promise of innovation, the metallic whir of new machinery forging paths. Even Saudis chase Vision 2030, ditching oil crutches. Eternal doom?
Hype's hot air, as players craft escape routes. But hold, ripples crash domestic shores. Picture Biden's White House, walls echoing voter ire amid inflation's roar and oil prices sting.
Dissatisfaction festers like sour air in a cramped cabin.
They drain strategic reserves, but depth dwindles, reserves eroding like sandcastles at high tide.
If OPEC sustains cuts, forcing Fed hikes, could recession engulf the landmass? Twisting truth, OPEC's plot might target inflation's core, challenging U.S. resilience. Yet, America repels storms before its supply abundance lurks. Sanctions lifted Iran or Venezuela could flood markets, alternatives surging at high stakes. Oil's wild dance has spun cycles, not always seismic shifts. Short-term, oil endures. Long-term, renewables revolution might curb fossil kings if momentum crescendos. Cliffhanger coils, will OPEC's jolt accelerate oil's twilight, or awaken sleeping giants anew? Whisper it, whose vision prevails in this energy standoff.